Hi everyone. So for my war story, I kind of tried really hard. I read someone else's story and I realized like how hard they went at it, how many symbols they had and things like that. So I went full in as much as I could in the moment. But my war story is about my family's experience with the war, and in particular their experience with my grandfather, who served a year in Vietnam. And whenever he came back demented and very abusive, mentally, emotionally, verbally, and physically abusive to the full extent to his wives. He said multiple, and all the children. And I tried my best to point out in the story that war goes on the veteran, the war goes on the soldiers, it goes on the generals and everything. It hurts the families. I looked at some data earlier, and according to one research study, it said that 21% of nationwide domestic abuse is contributed by veterans, 40% of cops are domestic abusers, 15% of veterans just nationwide are domestic abusers. And so I just wanted to point out that it does go beyond the person, and it goes beyond generations. You know, I'm one of the grandchildren, and I have to experience some of the effects that the war created for our family. For example, there's really bad anger management issues in my family, and there's a lot of verbal abuse that now we as grandchildren have to be self-aware about and recognize and make conscious decisions to not let that get to us and to work around it and communicate with our family. So talking about the technicalities of my war story, there's several. I called it the Volta because that's, like I saw in it, the Volta is the turning point, and the war was just the most huge, biggest turning point of my family's lives. Even though, like, my uncles and aunts have never experienced war was probably the biggest influence on them growing up, considering all the abuse that they endured. So there's that. There's the fact that I tried to use simple sentences and an impersonal, detached tone to describe that our grandfather never told anybody his experience there, and I don't think he ever will. He's 95 now, and his memory is not in the best shape, so I don't think we'll ever know everything of what we experience. And then one of the major symbolisms I tried to include were the eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul, and I tried to point out several times at the war story that before the war, his eyes were clear, they were focused, they were in love with my grandmother. When they came back, they were demented, they were focused on other women, and it was clouded. So I wanted to symbolize that the war made his soul clouded. So there's that. I'm looking at my notes right now. And of course the repetition with before and after the war to further emphasize the idea that the war was a turning point. So yeah, war goes beyond just one single person. Thank you.